Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the anime Death Note. And overall, I really enjoyed the series. I was hesitant to watch it at first because I thought it was kind of overhyped, but I had recently gotten Netflix and saw it was on there and like, okay, I'll take a chance at it. And it really delivered on the premise and everything, and I really liked what they did with the characters and how you didn't really know what was going to happen even when you got to the end and you're like, this did a really good job of doing good character beats throughout and really kind of honing in on kind of the relationships and the back and forth. I really liked what it did in that it was kind of like a Sherlock Holmes tale, except if it was told through the lens of Moriarty, Holmes's nemesis instead, and that really put a nice kind of spin on it, that you're kind of watching from the role of the antagonist, pretty much, the villain. And because of what he's doing, at least I think of him more as the antagonist and the villain, but usually you'd probably go through and be like, oh, Light is the protagonist. He has to win, and this is what he's doing. But it starts off, and it shows the high school with Light. Of course, he's kind of bored and everything, and he's a genius. Everything comes easy to him. He's got a great family life and everything, but he's bored. And Ryuk, a Shinigami from the Shinigami world, the god of death, is bored there and decides to go to the human world and drop a death note that he had gotten. And of course, Light picks it up and Ryuk explains it to him and all the rules that any person you write their name in this book will die. And if you don't write a cause of death, within 40 seconds they'll have a heart attack and all that. And then you can do them in other interesting ways, and just kind of seeing the progression of Light from this person who's got high morals and everything because his father's a police chief, going to, I will create a new world and be a god of this world by killing all those who are evil and who I deem unworthy. And seeing him just descend into that kind of madness and still use his intelligence to stay ahead of people is just gripping and really well executed, in my opinion. Because you start seeing him do this stuff, and everybody's like, holy crap, all these criminals are dying. It's like a serial killer of serial killers. And then you see that the whole world's policing organization turn to this detective, L, to try and find Kira, as he has been called, and stop him. And just seeing the back and forth that's going on between them, the chess moves that Light does to stay ahead of L are just crazy, because you're like, how's he going to get out of this one? Oh my god. And things just keep getting more complicated and complicated, because then a second Kira appears, who's essentially a fangirl. She has a death note as well. She has made a deal with her Shinigami to have Shinigami eyes, so that way she can find the name of the person just by looking at them, because you need to have a clear face and name in order to kill someone, because there could be thousands of Joe Smiths around the world, but you gotta know the name and the face in order to kill the right one. Otherwise, it should be like, there's 10,000 Joe Smiths within this one area. What do you want me to do? Almost would have been interesting to have the Death Note kind of sass back at certain points and be like, what? But that would have taken away from it sticks to its premise of this notebook that can kill people. And of course you're like, that's kind of outlandish, but it grounds it and sticks with that premise of this person pretty much becoming a serial killer and getting delusions of godhood. Because you see him using that to the second Kira, because she's a fangirl and wants to do nothing but help Light, which of course this kind of throws wrenches into his plans, because the second Kira is not as intelligent or thought out as he is. That of course starts leading kind of L to get them kind of trapped together, and of course he's starting to figure out what's going on, but he doesn't quite open his mind to the possibilities as fully as other people would. And seeing Light and the second Kira, Misa, give up their death notes to pretty much throw L off their trail. It's just crazy. And then having L be almost have like this small minuscule percentage that Light is Kira, and having him handcuffed to him, that just created nice tension. You're like, and then seeing Light be like, I want to help you catch Kira. It's like seeing the differences of what the Death Note did to his personality of having the Death Note versus not having the Death Note. And seeing how he has put it into such a way that he was able to take L out in a fashion that shows that he can manipulate anyone to his own goals. That's the Misa was kind of a one-note character almost, but it showed how he can manipulate people to his will, and he has no qualms about doing it whatsoever. It just feeds into his godhood complex, and then being able to manipulate Misa's Shinigami into killing L and others, which of course makes her die, because that's the only way to kill a Shinigami is to have them kill someone to defend someone that they love. And of course her life then goes to Misa, because she had to make the deal again to get the Shinigami eyes and all that, and that halved her life again. And seeing him take out L was just like, holy crap. And of course that's where most people have their problems with the anime and the manga, and that it should have kind of ended there if it was going to end there, because L was such a good adversary to Light. And then it does a time jump, and we see that Light's still in the task force and in the police force now, graduated from college, but he still has to contend with the legacy of L and the characters of Nier and Mello, as they are able to, at first, they don't want to work together, especially Mello with Nier. Nier is willing, these are the more kind of distilled aspects of L. With L, you could see intelligence and kind of like emotions kind of warring together. In this, we get it distilled into Nier is the logical one, and Mello is the emotional one. And they're both intelligent, but Mello lets his emotions get away from him. And of course, Nier, he's more logical and just kind of confined in that way. And it takes both of them to enable the situation for them to trap Light. And of course, at this point, we see the degradation of Light and Kira, because it's almost Breaking Bad in a way, and that we see this kind of good character who could be good, just keep making bad choices, and then just the descent of those bad choices, because you're thinking, Light would be smarter than this when he's got these other accomplices and everything, but that feeds into his godhood complex. He's like, okay, I have found these people, they will follow me or they will fear my wrath. They will not do anything that is stupid or against me. And of course, that's where his ego and his arrogance leads him into the corner that Nier and Mello are able to do for him. Mello, of course, loses his life because the one follower he has, they kidnapped, and she had pages of the Death Note and was able to kill him. And, of course, Light killed her, but Nier was able to engineer it so that they had taken both Death Notes, like the fake and the real Death Note, from his other follower, because his other follower was trying to take out everybody with that Death Note in the room that Nier had engineered. And of course, he comes in, and it's like, yes, I win, but you find out that they look and they see that all the names were on there except for Light. And just seeing him crazy and like out of control, being like with those delusions of godhood and about to try and use the little piece that he's got to try and take out other people, and seeing the other characters reacting to it, especially like the one person that in like, I don't know, the kind of rookie kind of cop who would worship like his father, just shoot him and almost go like Brad Pitt from Seven, almost ready to kill him if the others of his group hadn't stopped him, was just great. And then Light was asking Ryuk to like write all the people's names, and he's like, I told you this is how it was going to end. I'm going to write your name in my Death Note. And people would be like, shouldn't Ryuk have had feelings toward Light at this point? I'm like, no. he's always stated that he's never been his ally, and that this was kind of a fitting way. Now, the anime kind of differs from the manga in that how Light goes out and kind of sees his past self of the person he could have been as he's kind of bleeding out also, and then you see Ryuk write his name on the top of this like tower as he dies on these steps, and just seeing how he was undone by his own arrogance, and it was just very well executed. And people are like, but Light should have won. But even if Light had truly won, I think Ryuk would have been like, okay, you're going to be boring to me now. And he still would have written Light's name in his death note. That's at least what I think, because Ryuk wasn't doing this out of the goodness of his heart, out of the kindness of his heart. He was bored as well, wanted entertainment, got it, killed Light, went on with it. That's how he is. That's kind of how the Shinigami work. They are kind of equalizers in a sense, in that they are sitting in that the Shinigami realm, just looking out. They're kind of bored, but they're like, okay, doing this. Okay, I got this person extending their life and also doing their job. Whereas Light was also trying to do his job, but just going bigger and bigger, and his messes were just getting bigger and bigger the more people he brought in, showing the kind of similarities between him and Ryuk, and kind of what he was doing. He didn't care about people, and neither did Ryuk. He just was doing what he wanted to do for fun, and of course, Light was doing what he wanted to do because he at first wanted to do good and then wanted to become a god. And that, of course, led to his downfall. And also his trust in Ryuk. I mean, it was just appealing to him because he's like, oh, you're my friend, right? Of course, trying to manipulate him. But of course, Ryuk can't be manipulated. He's like, I'm bored. Possibly if he had offered him all the apples in the world. Maybe. But see, that's the thing. Ryuk does not care. He's just like, I had my fun, I get my human, go back up, wait around, see what happens. If I get bored again, I'll get another death note out. How about that? It was just really cool to see the character arcs and everything, and I'd highly recommend watching it, because even though there's some pacing issues, because it does seem that it would have been a better fitting end to have made it stop with like L, where there had been a situation where pretty much L and Light had a like no-win scenario where they both took each other out. I still think that there's merits with the Near and Mellow arc, even though it's mainly pacing, but that's also kind of because of Light going crazy with his delusions of grandeur. And then we also get to see that like Misa, who was devastated, had killed herself, and his other accomplice who worshipped him as a god killed himself as well, and just seen the like utter destruction of what he had wrought. Even though he had stopped global wars and crimes and everything, he was still just killing people to be a god to people. And just seeing what was like building up was just really great in how they presented it. So, those are my opinions on Death Note. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.